Okay, hi everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to everybody at Microsoft 365 UK user group, and delighted to have all of you today. And we have about 110 people registered for this January meeting today. So really thankful to everybody. And this event is being recorded, and so the videos will be available on the YouTube channel for M365 UK. And also the slides will be made available by hopefully this Friday. So in case if you do have missed or need to go or something, then you'll be able to catch up on that. And so in your top right Q&A, feel free to post your questions and we'll try and answer them if we can. But obviously we've got Vesa on today, so I'm sure he's going to answer the questions there as he sees fit. And so, it kind of gives me an immense pleasure to welcome Vesa Nopanen and Tomislav Karafilov. Vesa Nopanen from Finland and Germany, Tomislav, and it's really thankful for them for taking their time out to be with us in their kind of busy schedule and speaking immensely in the community. And so we'll kind of just head over shortly with them in a minute, but basically we got 2-hour agenda today. We got a break of about 10 minutes around 5 p.m. local time here in UK, and so kind of flexible around that. So if we do run over slightly, it's not a problem. We'll make up the time for it. So that's kind of what the agenda looks like. A bit about myself, for those of you who don't know, I'm Chirag Patel. I organize and run M365 UK here in UK. We do this on a monthly basis. I also work all things related to Microsoft 365. Started off with SQL Server, DBA, SharePoint, and really just covering all the related tech around Office 365 and Microsoft 365. So been there for 20 years, but still learning as ever all the time, including some few things today from Vesa himself. So hopefully you'll kind of take away things from today's session. There's my kind of details, techchirag.com. Feel free to connect if I'm able to help you out in any ways possible. While we kind of at it around this, then typically, as I mentioned, that we run this on a monthly basis. So for next 2 months, we have got February, March sessions planned. And so next month we got Gosia Boceka from here in UK, as well as Kevin McDonnell, who will be presenting some slightly different topics around the bots and the framework for within SharePoint, as well as Teams, and also the Microsoft search. And that area is constantly getting updated. So you may have seen that session before from Kevin, but it's going to be updated with all the latest and the greatest. And then we got the wonderful Seb Matthews, as well as Veronica Langell from here again in the UK, who will be going through the Office 365 governance, as well as the Microsoft 365 pattern and practices PowerShell modules. So really excited that we got those two events happening. And so if you haven't already, then please head over to those links. meetup.com/M365UK is the site for having your registration done. And then you can see these links there, and I'll post this in the Q&A shortly. But yeah, those are the links to access the slides and the YouTube recordings. If you do fancy presenting, and I'm always looking for new speakers, and if you need help or if you want to do a co-presentation with somebody, just let me know. The link is there. Just doesn't have to be exactly Microsoft 365, but as long as it's related to it, then I'll welcome that session as well. But hopefully you'll submit some, and then I'll try and get you into the user group here in the coming months. Okay, so let's just head over. So yeah, the first session we've got is with Vesa. I've known him for some time now, and we regularly bump each other in conferences, community events. His website, myteamsday.com, is the authority site for getting all updates for Microsoft Teams, as well as other heroes in the community. And so, yeah, Vesa's been around in IT, as some of you may know, for good old 20 odd years. Started off as SQL Server and DBA and all those wonder technologies back then. And then obviously, as we all know, is all things Microsoft Teams. So really welcoming to Vesa, and honored to have you here, and really looking forward to your session, which basically is all things Microsoft Teams, tips, tricks, all the latest features. So without further ado, I'll just hand over to Vesa. So Vesa, welcome, and it's over to you.
Thank you, Chirag, and thank you for having me here. It's great to be presenting in the UK user group. And let me just start before I forget to share my screen. That's some common tip and trick and mistake what you can do, especially with live events. When you are switching over, you unmute yourself, but you forget to share the screen. And yeah, it can happen to any of us, as you just witnessed. But hey, hello everyone, and it's so great to be here, and I have some fun stuff to show, at least exciting stuff. It depends what kind of profile you have, but this time this is a kind of a session I do now and then with as Chirag mentioned, it's about tips and tricks and latest updates. Today it is more about what's new in Teams, what's new in meetings, and also if we have some time at the end, hopefully to show around some Power Platform, which is basically Power Virtual Agents and Power Automate. But there's some Power Automate in the Power Platform in the earlier phases as well. So this is going to be a kind of fun session, and yeah, join me again in the future because this session is never the same. It's always updating and changing. And feel free to pump me with questions. I try to keep an eye on the Q&A on my right screen here. All right, so let's have a focus there. My name is Vesa Nopanen, and I'm a principal consultant and Microsoft MVP working for Sulava. But hey, please do call me Vesku. That's a very common nickname for Vesa in Finland. And feel free to connect me at LinkedIn and Twitter. And of course, Chirag very nicely mentioned it's myteamsday.com is my blog site, and you can find lots of different kinds of articles. There's end user level articles, and then there's articles about on the more tech level. And there's plenty of Power Platform in there as well. I live in Turku, which is pointed in there in Finland, so it's on the west-south coast. And today, yeah, we had snow. We had snow for more than a day. It's not the worst situation in Finland, but hey, when you get something like 40 centimeters snow during one day, it's a lot, even in here. So it's a kind of a nice to have a winter weather. Last winter in Turku was totally without snow, or I don't know if we had a few days of that. But that's enough for the kind of a startup. I have a usually very fast-paced sessions, so you may want to fasten your seatbelt or have a kind of take a good position and brace for light speed. But I try to slow myself down now and then. An agenda is of course about Microsoft Teams, and then we talk about Microsoft Teams, and we talk about a bit more about Microsoft Teams, and we do that in demos. Unfortunately, my slides won't be helping you much because everything I have is usually all is in the demos. So in the recording, you can catch these up later. And for the demos, I have a couple of virtual machines there running in Azure. That's the easiest way to show around things in the Teams desktop client when you are running a meeting inside Teams. I did play around having 2 desktop clients running at the same time on my desktop, but it had some interesting issues, so I kind of moved swiftly to virtual machines and used these as a demo machine. And you can have multiple of them, so which makes things a bit more easier. But I want to start with my profile section here. That when you take a look at that, you have hopefully you have seen that it has changed. there isn't a drop down for these accounts and orgs or your guest networks anymore here, but instead you can see the whatever accounts you have in this menu, and well, you can open the add a personal account there if you want. And this menu is going to have some changes soon, this or next month, so don't be alarmed when this is changing. But what you want to see here is that this text, which are now rather small, is that you can drop it down and you have this appear offline if you want to hide yourself. So you want to work in teams, but you don't want anyone to know. The benefit is that while you are not in Do Not Disturb, nobody can call you, but of course you will get all the notifications if somebody messages you. But the fun is the duration. You can kind of set your duration here for example, appear offline or Do Not Disturb for a specific amount of time, or you can set a custom time when it ends. And when it ends, it defaults to the available status. So this is a very handy feature, and if you know you're going to be busy, you're going to be away, something like that, you can take benefit of that. And so you don't have to remember to set back the availability status later. And when you're looking through Teams, I'm sorry if you haven't noticed, but you can add different apps to your tabs already. Well, most likely you haven't noticed that. But if you are using the Teams desktop version, you can pop out applications these days. So you can take it away and move it to the second screen or third screen. While I usually don't like to multitask, we have seen that, okay, you can go to the chat and you can pop out these chats if I want to. I have different demo users here, so I can pop out these chats and move them to the other screen if I want to. But I don't really use that much because I keep them inside Teams most of the time. But the thing is that if you are doing something and you have perhaps a need to work on your tasks at the same time, perhaps adding tasks when you are looking at the document or some presentation, or you are in a meeting, you can right click on the applications and you can pop out these apps. And even if you have, let's say I should have some applications here, like, okay, we have the employment engagement, that's a Powerapps. I can pop it out. I can take the Powerapp in here as well. So I can choose to pop out several of these apps, custom apps or pre-built apps that I want to work in different view without losing that context if I'm doing something in Teams. For example, Power Virtual Agents is not a bad idea, because if you've been using or configuring your own bots there, you kind of lose things very easily if you want to test it around. So that try to remember the right click. And of course you can pin the application from there as well, but the pop-out apps is easily forgotten because it's there, but it's not being advertised at all. And by now, I hope you all have seen that your planner is renamed Tasks by Planner and To Do, and it's telling about that very visibly. We have all seen that. It's pointing it out. But the thing is, when you need to remember it when you are adding a new tab. So yesterday I was looking for a planner for a while before I realized, yeah, it changed an icon and the name. So it's just good to keep in mind that you can have to remember that when you are adding a new tab. Of course, it still shows up because the planner is in the name. Something that may have been missed already is the pinning of the messages. You have this context menu when you select a single message, and you can do things. Probably you have edited messages, deleted them, copied link to that, shared to Outlook. But there's also this pinning a message. Let me unpin it first. And if I pin a message, you saw that it's getting this green pin, and it marks that it's pinned to be retrieved easily later. So, and it's pinned for everyone in the team. The bad thing is that if I'm scrolling somewhere or in some other place, I don't really know if any messages are pinned or not. But if you go to this information pane on a channel, you can see your pinned posts. And I can click on the post and I move immediately to that post area in here. So it's a very, very efficient way to kind of remind, okay, let's have some posts there pinned. You can pin quite many messages there. I don't right away remember how many, but in case it's only showing 3 pins in this area. But if you click on the pinned posts, yeah, you wouldn't have guessed it's a link. Then you can see the rest. So there's more to this feature than it originally looks like. It's not perfect because it's not giving a cue that, okay, I have some pinned messages here, but it's still a very, very efficient way to kind of save messages to the whole team because it's in a channel. For example, if you think about the company team and you have some announcements there that you want people to fetch very easily later, HR channel, something kind of a personal benefits, for example, or something is changing, reminder about this is how you do your cost expenses, for example. So that's a very, very nice way to do things. Then I have the custom praise channel here, so it's kind of implying I'm going to show you the custom praise. Well, hopefully you all know about the praise app here. That's on the on default in Teams, and on default it has these some of these kind of well-known praises or badges we can use. There was something like awesome, achiever, problem solver, leadership, team player, etc. But then there are some motivational or emotional badges that can be added. And the big fun thing is about, of course, adding kind of custom badges. Hey, we can say somebody is a real winner. I'm not going to spend time typing there, but let's just put Chris there. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine, so I'm using him many times in my demos. So I can just send it just like any other badge or praise, and that's it. That's how easy it's to kind of use it. But how do you define it? For that, you have to be a Teams administrator. And let me just take one step or a couple of steps back so you can see that. You have to go to the Teams Admin Center, managing apps, and you can search for the praise, and you click it open, and you have this settings section. And in here it says, okay, are the default badges on? Are the social and emotional badges on? That was for the education. There were some really nice badges there, and then you can add your own. I'm just going to show you editing this winner badge, that you are going to state a name, then you are giving it putting an image there. This is saying it's at least 216 by 216, but in the matter of fact, it has to be exactly 216 by 216, and and use a transparent image or rectangular one. Then you can put on the colors. We saw what the colors were. You have to use the hex codes, and you can add a localized badge name. That's a Finnish name for a winner as a voittaja in there. So I can add different language names there, and I can exclude some locals if I don't want, if that badge is not relevant to them, or perhaps they have a different kind of badge. And when you do a submit, it's going to be processing those badges there for a while, so that's why I'm not showing it live, like adding a new one or editing an existing one, but it can be edited because this HBR award was originally a Finnish name, so I kind of changed that to have this Finnish name in the language and use the English name as on default. So that's the on the praises. But please do use them because they are a very efficient way to share the goodwill. And perhaps one short kind of Teams tip there. let me just go there and have some text copied off. Yeah, we all know what happens if you start copying the text off from there. And if I want to reply there, that's, by the way, Shift Control X, X there. And let me, I seem to have caps lock on. So Shift Control X is opening or removing this kind of a format area or advanced formatting. And in here, if you hit Shift Control B, you can kind of paste things in a plain text. And instead, if I'm just using the normal paste, you can see there's everything is in that format. But that's not what I was about to say. It's about showing you Shift plus this character, open up or arrow. And if I do that in the first, as a first character in a new line, here and pressing the Shift and arrow, I can get to the quote mode easily, and then I just Control Shift V and I get the text without formatting, so I can have a kind of a couple of enters there, and I can close the quote area. That's a kind of a very quick way to use quote instead of going through kind of starting to add these different. Okay, there's the quote already. I could use that, but otherwise you will be using the UI for that. But that was just for a quick tip there. That was the old one, but hopefully some of you hadn't seen those. And while we are at the channel, we can add something new there. Is the plus. Pay attention that the SharePoint application have just been updated. So the SharePoint one, yes, there's still a document library, and I think there's SharePoint pages, yeah, but forget them, just use the SharePoint one. When you hit this, there you can see, okay, this is the team, the Spotlight team I mean, and these are the basically the recommended parts. These might be lists, or these might be pages, or it might be document libraries. But you don't want, if you know what you are adding there, fine. But if you don't, you can go through and see the pages, you can just and see the lists, and you can see the doc libs. And if you have an URL to any SharePoint page, list, or library, you can paste it here. So it can be from some other site. So this app has gotten a nice revamp. So if you haven't checked that out yet, please do when you have to add something from SharePoint. And something that just came out this week is the channel calendar. And this is not a team calendar or a group calendar. And in every team, there's a calendar behind it. It lives in Exchange Online, of course, and so it's related to that group that team is added onto. So every team has a calendar. But the channel calendar is taking a look at what are the channel meetings in that team, in the channel where it is added. So if I add the channel calendar to this general channel, I had this Teams Loves Coffee meeting. I created this channel meeting earlier. I can see it in here. So you can have a clear view to all the meetings that are happening on that channel. First, when I noticed, okay, this is just for the channel, why it's not a good thing. I want a group calendar. But so I wasn't very impressed first, but when I started to think about it, I really like this idea. Yes, we need the group calendar as well, but the channel calendar is very helpful if you start thinking about you have 50 channels and all those channels have meetings. So all those channels has a different context, and those meetings are related to that context. And that's when it's very great to have this calendar with that is already filtered to show only those meetings in that channel. There's going to be less meetings in that calendar, and they are going to stand out better. And if you, so it's a very great way to use that, and I really like it because you can add a new event from there, and it's already selecting the calendar. So it's all the channel. So it's always doing a channel meeting. Of course, if I go to the channel, I can do an instant meeting, or I can to meet now, or I can schedule the meeting normally. It's just like pressing that, adding a new meeting in the channel calendar. So, but it's just one other way to look at things. People work differently. They have different kind of workflows they use. So for some people, I'm very sure that it's going to be easier than remembering to do this, or remembering to select that channel when you are scheduling the meeting through your normal calendar. And okay, so that was about the calendar part, or the Teams part. There's no questions so far, so I will be going through the meetings, towards the meetings. I have prepared up one meeting there for this user group, and I already have added several people to that meeting, so I don't have to go around and click them in right now. And all right, let's just join the meeting. And most likely you have already seen that there's a new pre-join screen. So you have to select one of these. You can't join the meeting if you haven't selected at least once what kind of setting you use. And I think that's a good thing, because otherwise, earlier we saw a lot of people kind of joining into meetings in wrong settings. They're in a room or something else. And especially when I'm running a meeting inside a meeting, or actually several meetings, using audio is a very good thing. And you have the camera controls and device controls available through here as well. But because I'm just showing around the meeting, I don't need audio or camera in there. I already have my camera in use in this live event. So I have several people already in the meeting, and I'm going to show you some fun stuff there. Okay, we could start with like reactions. You have to have a public preview of Teams available if you want to use this, but yeah, you can start using them, and you will see people using these reactions. For those who are going to find this a bit confusing, is that the raise hand is moved there as well. So you just have to look for the icon. But what we can have nowadays in meetings are polls. That came out during the November, and for adding the polls, I should do this before the meeting starts, but I can do this during the meeting as well. So I'm going to add a tab. So I'm going to add an application to meeting. And this time it's about forms. That's all available there. And these are very simple polls. I can't create much surveys here, but I can add a poll, and I can make some quick polls to ask from the audience. And let's create a poll. And when I create this poll, I hit the create. Now it's going to my forms in my Office 365. If I have a presenter from another organization there, and they go there and added their poll, the results will go to their forms in their Office 365. So that's something to remember. Demo poll, and let's just have 1 and 2, and perhaps let's say 42 in there. Do I want the multiple answers? Do I want to keep responses anonymous? Do the others want to do you want others to co-author these? Okay, and showing the results after voting. Okay, we are adding a poll to the meeting. And if I now go to the meeting, it has added me an application. The poll is there. And yes, I can see the same poll here, and I have some options like editing it, deleting it, but of course I want to launch it. And if you are using the new meeting experience, like hopefully everybody is, and you are using this desktop, of course, then doing the polls will pop up in the middle of the screen. This is very great. I can just go ahead and submit the answer. Hey, there's an answer. Okay, I could open some other person. Okay, I have a web client in use, and this is Patrick. So I'm just using my pickup maneuver open here. is that I can see that I have a chat message, because the web client doesn't have these chat bubbles, pop-out polls, but I can still go ahead and answer that vote through the chat. Okay, what is fun is, of course, I can change my vote very easily when I'm doing this. And if I go to the web client here, it's not that simple. I can see that in chat, but I don't think I can change my vote anymore from there. No, yes, I can. So I had a glitch earlier. Okay, you never know how Teams is going to behave, actually. Something may be glitching and something may be doing something different. But this is the kind of way to add polls to meetings. What I discovered today is I can add my own applications to there. Well, we have seen that you can add, you have different applications like Poly, Slido, Priority Matrix, and lots of different apps available to be added to meetings. So these are optimized for meetings. But what I discovered today is that that you can take your Power App and make it kind of compatible with meetings very easily. I just created like, let's say, the estimator. This is a cost estimator as example Power App from template. You're just using the provided by Microsoft. So I'm just created a sample application and I added one row to the manifest to make it compatible with meetings. So I can save the estimator to the meetings and it will load my Power App. And yes, I put my own background from today, which I took from a window, so I can kind of show that I can change this. And of course, I did the employee engagement survey. Let's add that one too. And that's another Power App example that I made very slight changes, so I can add that to the meeting. And these can be used before, even if I'm not even joined to the meeting. That's a very great thing. And after the meeting. So I can, if I have some Power Apps there that are connected to business processes or let's say HR, ticketing, whatever, I can create them very easily and add them here. But the beauty is that they come here to the Teams meeting as well. So I can see, okay, this is the application I was doing, and I can interact with the application. In here, let's say give it a kitchen. Since this is a USS example, the kitchen must be at least 100 feet long and 50 feet wide. And I can choose the flooring style, hardwood, of course. Let's take that one. That's pretty cool. And I can review it. Hey, that's the thing. And I can just put it there, some of my initials, whatever I want to do. So it even supports this right directly in the meeting. Or the engagement survey. Well, the forms couldn't allow you to add free form texts. How about creating a Power App to getting information in, asking something from your company? Okay, that's horrible choices. I should have changed them. No, I don't use email. And yes, I can see myself there, and yeah, free text, and then apply it in. So that would be kind of a fun thing to add, and that was a really easy way to add there, and yeah, it's available. So it's really fun. I already mentioned about the public preview, and yeah, you can use these live reactions there, but also if I have a public preview on, how do you know it's on? Well, you can go to your settings and check about the public preview here. Is that if the administrator has allowed you to use that, you can kind of switch it on. And once it's on, what you can do in the Teams web client, you can enable the together mode. And let's say, yeah, it's enabled. I don't have any cameras on, so everybody's empty. The fun thing about the web client version also with Together mode is that it doesn't require that 5 participants like the desktop client does. So if you are there you're solo, you can go ahead and put on your camera and put yourself to the auditorium. You can change the scene here, but hey, that's at least something. And finally, in the meeting demos, it's not finally in everything else, is of course the breakout rooms. That's why I have all those persons in here. And you hopefully noticed that you can create breakout rooms. There are some restrictions there. You have to have a fairly updated client. Teams desktop client has to be in use. You have to use the new meeting experience, and you have to be the meeting organizer. So you are the one who created the meeting invitation. And then I can go ahead and say, okay, how many rooms I want, automatic or manual assignment, and I can create those rooms. And I can see it's already put the participants I have into different rooms. I can go ahead, I can rename the room. Let's call it 10 forward. And put that room, let's name it as something from Star Trek is of course Stargazer. Okay. So we can rename them, and you should, because if you are chatting or you have several chats with the room 1, it's not that fun, so it's good to have these different names. I can open them individually, I can add more rooms. If more participants join in, I can assign them to different rooms. So I can just select that person and do the assignment and switch them around. And there are a couple of settings here. Well, I could recreate the rooms if I want to, but in the room settings, like automatically moving participants to rooms, keep that on. Otherwise, it will ask from anyone, do you want to move into breakout room? And once you close the rooms, it will again ask, do you want to come back to the main meeting? And yeah, you will lose half the people in there. So just keep it available there. And of course, can the participants return to the main meeting? This is actually tricky. If you don't touch this, it's defaults to on. But if you do this, you turn it on and off. Now it's kind of in effect, but it works only on basically on the Teams desktop client. You can still return to the main meeting if somebody is using the Teams web client, for example. And I can show you, I just start the rooms and it will start moving the people automatically to these rooms. You can see that the session has started. You will be automatically moved in 10 seconds. This is the other desktop client I have in here. And the same thing for Patrick. It's connecting to the breakout room, and Patrick is already in there. Seeing that, okay, there's only 2 people in here in the breakout room, but Patrick can see, okay, I can return to the main meeting. But there's a chat in the breakout room, and since they're in the same organizations, they can start recording, they can use Together mode, they can do sharing, use the whiteboard, etc. Everything that's available in there. And looking at Amy, they are at 10 forward with Patrick. They can see the chat, but the Amy doesn't have the option to return to the main room on her own. So that's the difference there. And once I'm in the main room, because I'm the organizer, I can join any room I want, or I can send closing time, an announcement, which is basically just a chat message with the important flag to different rooms. And then I just hit close rooms and call everybody back in. This was a super fast demo about breakout rooms, but this is how they work in here. And yeah, then I have some time to go for the Power Virtual Agents. Let's close the meeting. It's connecting back to the main meeting, but we don't want to do that. And we can see the Stargazer chat here. Something to note, now that I closed the breakout rooms, the chat is not available. There's no join button. And if I reopen the rooms, there's going to be a join button. I can rejoin the room directly from the chat if I want to. Okay. Something fun I want to show with Power Virtual Agents. I love these bots. These are fun. These are easy to make, create, and you can do a lots of wonders with them. Yeah, let's start with this. I guess it's a good thing. We can start our onboarding process. We are a new employee here. It's not kind of proactive. It's not sending you any message, so you have to know how to get there. One way to get there is, of course, use the kind of perhaps a company communicator with deep linking directly inside Teams, so you can get directly to the bot. And we can start the onboarding process from there. And yeah, the bot is waking up. Welcome to the platform demo company, where you could watch the video here, so you can have links. Yes, you can have pictures, and you should update your personal information first, and it will wait until you have done it. So what's in here? Well, Powerapps. I have something of our own doing. This is a Dataverse Power App running in the team, storing the information in the Dataverse for Teams, and just for the fun of that, uploading the picture using that part. The picture is actually going to the SharePoint for later use. But hey, we have the information, but we could have some training apps there if we want, or we can add a bit more advanced Power Apps there. This is an onboarding tasks demo application again from Microsoft. So it's just to show around that Power Apps can look good. They're just not usually made by me, but they look good. But yeah, you can have a lots of more information here and can be a fully fledged application. And yeah, it can coexist with your bot. All right, we have updated our personal information, and this is it can go ahead and start the onboarding process by asking you questions. You updated some information, so it knows already who I am. Of course, it knew it when I started, but also about perhaps my birthdays and everything is in the personal info that have been updated to the HR system in reality. I have some copy-paste ready for my background, some short text. Okay, what kind of information I like the most? Sci-fi. Yeah, and I could go with Star Wars this time, despite using the Star Trek all the time. Just to show you around Baby Yoda GIF. And what it does here, once I answered all the questions, of course you would have different questions when you're really doing the onboarding, is that it's going to save the information to the backend somewhere, but it will also use the information you entered to have your introduction text. That's whatever all the companies or most of the companies have. You have a new employee, everybody, you want to introduce that employee to others. Or you have a huge project and a new employee onboards it. Perhaps this is a similar stuff. And then I just for fun used it to use the Bing search to find something about Star Wars in the internet. And it's going to go ahead and check out what it can find and have a link there. But it's also adding tasks and it's adding me a meeting. Okay, so it has added me a meeting automatically. What tasks is, of course, I don't want any tasks. I just started here. And the kind of the natural way to ask, okay, yeah, that bot loves tasks, but yeah, there are a few tasks I should take care about, creating my team, etc. And yeah, I can see them in my tasks. Yeah, they're the same tasks here. And so I can kind of see, all right, I did those tasks. Okay, let's go there. It looks better. And I can just say what tasks again. And the list should be empty or my demo has failed. And that could happen as well, but let's see how it goes. Yeah, the list is empty, yes. But there was also the meeting. And if I start scrolling down, it was on the 14th day. Yeah, I've been doing the demo a few times. I just have deleted everything else, but that was from the 10 a.m. Tomorrow. So if I go ahead and check out the message earlier, no, that was the 8:30 one. So it should be this one. Yes, it's there. So, and there can be directly a meeting link there. But that's only the new employee side. Then there's the HR side. They can see, okay, I had the intro text for me, and this is the text, and it's on the channel, so everyone from the HR can approve it or not. And if it's approved, like in the demos, everything, it's a demo effect, everything goes perfectly, right? And nothing is happening when I click submit. That's when I get scared. Let's hit it again. Hope for the better luck. Oh yeah. Okay, and once I submitted, something was written to the platform company HR, and hey, welcome our new employee. And that's it. That's kind of a very easy way to help using these bots and Power Automate to automate some of the tricky processes like the onboarding. And I think this is a very cool way to use this. And as you saw in this text, you can use GIFs, you can use links, you can do different kind of things with Markdown in the bot. And if I just hit the Markdown test, I have a hidden command there. It's not part of the onboarding bot really. Is that I can, yeah, you can see there are different ways you can do. You can use headers, you can use lists and tables if you want. And just show around, okay, what about bold italic? Using that, and you get that output there. Of course, if you are composing something with Power Automate, you can use this formatting already in there as well. So, but this is when the data is coming from backend, you want to format it, then this is how when the Markdown is very helpful. Power Automate, that's a kind of a leapfrog to Power Automate parts. Yes, we can do use different Power Automates, and I have done different demos there during my time. Like if you go to the create menu, you can see that, hey, we could create a task from a message or follow up on a message. Ping me back in few hours. How difficult it is to use this? Well, everybody basically can add that Power Automate to themselves, open it, open the create one. I want the name there. Let's put follow UK demo, and I can hit the continue, and there's a create flow. It's actually called Cloud Flow these days, and it's done. I don't have to even look at it. Let's see what happens when I click home. There's a follow UK demo, and if I want to just follow up on this message, more actions. And if it doesn't show anything, just scroll up upwards and go back. And we have that follow UK demo here. Okay, I want to follow up that in 20 minutes. And what it does, it sets a timer and it will ping me with a notification so I can get back to the message in 20 minutes. That's cool. How much did I use time on that? Not much. So that's why I love these templates. These are really great, like creating tasks from a message. Fine, let's put another demo 2. And we have to select the planner. Yeah, let's put the spotlight. So we are in the same theme here, and I have tasks planner. And yeah, again, I didn't have to even look at the Power Automate. And if I go there and this has a task and demo 2, yeah, title, demo, and I could have a due date for tomorrow, submit, and going for, okay, it was the spotlight. I kind of misremembered the environment I was using, and I have here the demo. And that's easily. It's not the most smart one. For example, it doesn't have a link to the original task, but yeah, I created a task based on that message. And it just kind of told me to send a card, and I could go ahead and view the task. Okay. There are some updates if you start thinking about what kind of stuff you could do, and let's go and open the demo 2. and go for the edit mode because we already have something there. What else we can do with this Teams actions? Okay, let's search for Teams and click it around, open. So we have all the Teams actions available. Adding members to a team. Yes, we could, based on the selected message, we could do things like adding a member to a team. And if I just choose this one, this has gotten something new. It doesn't look the way it looked earlier. Hey, let's choose a team. It could be a bot space and using the user ID to add. Well, we have the for selected message trigger, like we have in here, and we can get the like sender user ID who sent that original message. But with advanced options, you can now make people owners when you are adding them to team. That's all. That's brand new, I guess. I hadn't looked them at a few weeks, I think, and it had appeared there. So that's a new stuff. And there's also, you have seen the post a message, and this is in many instructions. Use the post a message when you're posting something to team. But there's now a post message in chat or channel as well. So, and it looks a bit different. Hey, do I want to send it as a flowbot to user, or do I want it to send it as post as a flowbot or post as me, or use custom value so it can be guided. It could be me, and then I want to post it to channel, but if I use a flowbot, I think I can send it to the chat. So it's great options here. And if I choose a channel, hey, there's again a team. I just choose a team there, and I have the channel. It's going to show me some channels I have there, and then I construct, put the message there together. That's very great stuff, I think, because it's much better to use one action there instead of having those separate ones. Okay, I'm running out of time soon. I knew this would happen. I also had one other approval, a message. And what this approving a message does is it's basically just using the old-fashioned approval actions that are available in Power Automate. So I'm creating an approval for a selected message, and I'm waiting for that. And once it's done, I'm going to post the result to the platform HR general channel. All right. So you know what it should do. Let's choose this message here, and I can go ahead and choose the approve a message and put the title for this UK demo, and I can submit it. Okay, what I had now, it created an approval and started to wait. And the new approval application isn't out yet, but it should come hopefully soon. The rollout schedule is for January, which is the natural place where you can find all the approvals. But if you look at the Power Automate here, you can see there's approve message for UK demo. And I can click it open. I can see what's in there, and I can choose the response with comments. It's just reject and not today. Or times out. I think that's a proper comment at this time, and I have created the response. And yeah, I have the history about what I've been testing. But if I go to the platform HR, I can see message reject. It was rejected with times out. So you can use Power Automate to create approvals that are in one centralized place, and once that approval application comes out, it's even better in that one. Okay, now I have demo extravaganza done, I think. And there's a question about can polls be prepared before meeting in the channel? In the future, the channels have a bit different kind of way to use those applications there. So hope you can use the forms, of course, to create those polls now already if you want there to do that. But just for a very quick recap, Teams loves Power Platform. It's very essential part of Teams. And of course, you want to use custom braces. It's going to be more fun than using just the braces. But even just use the braces, send the badges to your colleagues, share the fun, create some motivation, and even more if you can create your own organization braces. Polls are great in meetings, but especially adding your own Power Apps to meetings, that's even better. I know this group had a SharePoint Spaces session earlier last, I think it was December. Chirag is nodding, yes, I did. So don't forget that I didn't add that one in my demos today, but if that wouldn't have just been in your user group presented, I would have definitely added that. Okay, I made it in time. That's always sometimes a big surprise, but hey, it was fun. Please do connect with me and follow my blog. But you can meet me and Chris Hord in the Modern Workplace Conference Paris next week. We will be talking about Teams as a platform in there, and then I will be at the Birmingham Virtual as well and Scottish Summit, and Teams Nation is of course the group. I'm one of the organizers in there. We have monthly meetings as well, just like this group. Please do join our meetup group so you can see what's happening. We have awesome news about our Teams Community Conference coming up on the January 25th, so that's very soon. I forgot the TH from the text there, but so you will really want to join that meetup and see what we are going to be announcing there. And meanwhile, join the monthly meetings as well. On the February, there's going to be a great topic on the monthly meetings. It's going to be Microsoft Graph Day. There's 2 Microsoft speakers talking about awesome stuff about Graph. Okay, and I hope you enjoyed this and had fun. Please do give me feedback, ask me questions through the Q&A, and let me know how I did. Somebody's saying I haven't got polls. Is this something I need to admin to switch on? The polls are in forms. You are actually adding forms there. I don't have a screen share anymore, but when you go to the meeting, you are adding a forms. That's where you get the polls into. And yeah, if you don't see the forms there, so you can't add applications to your meeting with the plus sign, then of course you want to check with your admin and see if they can help you with there. Thank you. But I was expecting there would be some more questions.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be coming. That's great. Thanks, Vesco. Really appreciate that. As ever, great things to learn and consolidate on what's already known. So I think we'll give a couple of minutes or so if anybody thinks of a question. But yeah, I think just wanted to say, big round of applause. I can see Tomislav there as well in my screen here. So yeah, virtual round of applause. I'm sure the attendees loved it. And we've also had a good turnout of it. So as ever, I think, great stuff. Thanks, Vesco. Yep. And I think in the coming year, I'm sure this session of yours just keeps getting updated. So I think for the attendees, if you see a session like this in the future, it's not going to be a repeat as Vesco says himself. It's just always an update. And I think, it's just Microsoft Teams receiving, constantly huge amount of updates, and, with 115 million users using daily. It's like need to be good at it.
Yeah, that's a big number of people, and yeah, it's a kind of a fun session to keep, because I usually sometimes show all tricks there, because there are lots of people who don't know all the tips and tricks that are our best practices there as well. So I always make this a fresh one. And there was the follow-up comment, I have forms, not just polls. Then add forms to your meeting, and that's basically the poll. That's the polls. Hopefully in the future we could have forms to have some free text examples. Now it's just a select one option and post it. can you share the details for the Teams meetup group again? Yes, I can.
Yeah, I'll post that out.
Yeah, Teams Nation rocks and join. Yeah, you can if you have it ready then.
Yeah.
Sure. So you can do that. Just checking that the short URL works. It's sometimes the services
just
are
meetup.com.
Yeah,
I'll post
you
that
can
out.
just hit it.
Good.
Okay,
Right.
no questions because of great demo. A few things more I shall dig in and some great tips as well. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It was very fun that you have learned something or got something new. I don't know if Chirag, if you learned anything because you have seen my sessions, but I think I had some new stuff here.
Yeah, no, I think the main one is the meeting app that caught me earlier on today in terms of the alongside the meeting. So that was a good find, and yeah, it's just like with everything else, it's to try and keep up to date. So yeah, you're doing a good job.
Thank you. Okay, and let's see if there's anything else. No questions. Great
No,
demo.
I can't see any
Thank you.
questions.
And yeah, okay.
Okay, right. So I think absolutely. We'll take a break now, and so kind of just give everyone the chance to kind of stretch your legs and so forth. But we'll kind of reconvene back in about 10 minutes. So yeah, everyone, welcome back to M365 UK. And as you know, some of you, we had Vesku Nopanen earlier today. So the slides and hardly any slides anyways, but the demo will be made available in the video. But just like to welcome Tomislav today from Germany, and so as some of you probably heard in the break time conversing with Vesku. So it's my pleasure to welcome Tomislav today. And another great session coming up for all of us, Powerapps and Power Automate in Microsoft Teams. And we'll also be looking at Dataverse there as well. So again, very fast growing area. And so it'll be good to see as well from Tomislav's session, the pros and cons around it between the two and within Teams and outside of Teams. So really looking forward to that. Tomislav, I know we've, again, just like Vesku, we've spoken at a few conferences, community events over the years. And I think, Tomislav has been around for, I think, 10, 15 years in IT, and he's MVP in business applications. So it's, just really great to see some of the content, and he organizes a few user groups as well, as I believe. But I'll let Tomislav tell you all about that. But in the meantime, I'll kind of go quiet and hand it over to you, Tomislav. Welcome to M365 UK.
Thank you, Chirag, and hello everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be on a community event again, even if it's not in personal. It's a live event like we have it here, but it's nice to have exchange, to talk to the people, to see other community people talking, and yeah, I hope 2021 would be a great year for us community people to learn much things.
Sorry, Tomislav, you may want to share the slides as well, please, if you're not already.
I can do. Here are the slides.
Great, excellent, thank you.
So I would like to give a little view inside of Powerapps and Power Automate in Microsoft Teams, but from the perspective of Microsoft Dataverse. That is the theme of my session today. As you heard about it, my name is Tomislav Karafilov. I'm a business applications MVP for half a year from last year. I'm on different community events. I'm organizing community events like Chirag said, and I like to be on community events at the same because I learn much things at community events, and it's great to be in contact with people. So let's start. Let's begin with the sentence of Microsoft Dataverse. Microsoft Dataverse, or the Power Platform, is something where we have different services and applications like Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agents. And this services gives us the possibility to enrich with a no-code and low-code platform our things that we want to do. Additionally, we have data connectors where we can get and send data over different connectors to different places. We have the EA builder, and we have the name change from CDS, from the Common Data Service, to Dataverse that Microsoft did in November last year, I think. So the Common Data Service, or Microsoft Dataverse, is a storage place where we can store data, and it's a component of the Power Platform. From an article or from the internet or from Microsoft, I like to say that we have, for the different services, we have different layers. We have a presentation layer at the top where we have Power Apps. We can build Canvas apps, model-driven apps, Power Apps component frameworks, and so on, Power Apps portals. That's the presentation layer. So where can I have my UI to present something? If I want to have the business logic or the process automation, there I can use Power Virtual Agents or Power Automate. And in the data area, to store data, I can use Dataverse, or I have connectors to get the connection to other storages like SharePoint, like databases, like different things. And at the bottom of everything, there we have Azure, or we have the platform Microsoft provides us, where the services are hosted, where the data is stored, and what we can use with our subscriptions that we have. Let me go to a little definition. When we go back, we see here the different things like Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent, and the storage, the CDS, and so on. Microsoft has introduced the sentence of environments. Environments to have a container to store and manage apps, flows, and other assets that belong to, yes, my environment. I have different possibilities. I can define data loss preventions on that, and so on and so on. I don't want to go into detail. You get the slides, you can read that. But the important thing to know is when we create a tenant by Microsoft, then Microsoft creates one default environment, one place where we can store our flows, our Power Apps, and everything that we need, and one place, and I would take my head away because it's down here, one environment that can have a Dataverse instance or not, 1 or 0, not more. If you want to have more Dataverse instances, you need new environments. Why I'm talking about environments? Let's go to this overview. So from the perspective of a Microsoft tenant with my default environment, that is the place where all default actions are stored. When I go and create, for example, in flow in a SharePoint list, then this flow is stored in the default environment. So it's important to know that this default environment should be used for personal productivity, because everyone is a maker in this environment. When you want to go to a little bit of professional development and you want to have different stages, you want to have a productivity Power App or a group of Power Apps and flows where you say, hey, this is something that I need for my business, then it would be good to have or to create, for example, dedicated environments where I have one environment where I have my development, then a second environment where I can do the testing, and the third environment where I can do the production. In every environment, I can say, hey, in the dev environment, all the developers have access to upload and to develop and to create everything that they need in test and in production. They have maybe only the view rights, but they don't have the rights to change anything. So in the production environment, our business users have the possibility to call the Powerapps and to use the flows, and backwards in the dev environment, they can't look. For this one, when you do a productivity, where you do an app, then you have a dedicated environment for this app or this class of apps. What you also can do is to have a shared environment where you say, hey, I have different development teams. They have everyone have his own development environments. They are all transporting their results to the test environment, and then they go to a production environment. Then you have something like a shared environment. The message I want to say is environments, you can have more than one. So you can have 2, 3, 4, as many as you need. Environments can have different permissions for different users. And when we go the next step with Microsoft Dataverse for Teams, then the picture looks like this on the right side. With Dataverse for Teams, when I have one team and I'm creating a Power App within this team, or I'm creating a Power Automate flow within this team, in the background, Microsoft creates an environment for us and ties it up to the permissions or the permissions of everything that we have from within our team. So when I have in my team a team owner, then these persons are also owners in my environment. And I have members, I have guests, so everything is a capsule from Microsoft, and this is transported to the environments, to the Microsoft Dataverse environments for Teams, and I have only one per team. The limits Microsoft set, or here to see that, the picture from the Power Platform Admin Center, you can see the environments when you go there. Here at the bottom, there is the Contoso default environment. It's from type default, and the other environments are from type Microsoft Teams. So you can see these are different types. The environments have limits. I have a slide. I come back later again. So what does it mean in comparison to our first image about the Power Platform? What does it mean when I have Dataverse for Teams? When I have Dataverse for Teams, then I have Powerapps in. Currently, I can build Canvas apps with that. I have Power Automate, a service where I can't build desktop flows. I can build cloud flows. I have Power Virtual Agents. I have also the connectors to get data into my apps and to write data, but currently no custom connectors. There is currently no AI builder, and what I said, we have Dataverse for Teams as a place to store our data. Here are the limits. Currently, we have a support of 500 environments, or we can create one environment for 500 teams. This environment can store 2 GB of data and can support up to 1 million lines. What you have to do is to get a little bit an eye on it. Is it included in your license or not? There aren't additional costs if you use Microsoft Dataverse for Teams, but you have to have it included in your license so that you can use it. Here is the security. As I said, the security for Dataverse for Teams is managed by the team that I have. A time ago, at the beginning, where Dataverse for Teams was called Project Oakdale, we have by default guest users that only have access to their records and don't have access to other records. But there is a little bit change. I will show it in the demo section, what there's new. And this slide I will skip. Let us go to this, what I want to show in the demo. I have on the left side the Powerapps, web service, the normal web Powerapps area. We take a look at the Power Automate flows, and at the bottom for Power Virtual Agents, only for the complete to be complete. But in my session, I don't go into deeper into the virtual agents. What we have on the right side is we have the Teams apps. We have Powerapps for a Powerapps Teams app, a Power Automate Teams app, and a Power Virtual Agent Teams app. And what we also have are the mobile apps. I would like to go through these apps to show you a little bit of what are the difference and what are the common things that we have there. Let's go to my virtual machine. Here I have Teams. Open. I have different teams. It's a normal demo tenant from Microsoft. It's the Microsoft Contoso demo tenant that I have here. I have created team M365 UK. I have created it, I think, 3 days before today. And that was a good decision because creating the environment in the background takes a while. And not only the creation of the whole environment takes a while. When we go to Power Automate, and for example, we want to use the approval task, then in this environment, there have to be deployed additional tables and additional stuff. And this also costs a little bit of time. So when you start experimenting with Dataverse for Teams, give Microsoft a little bit of time to provision everything that you need and to use with this. Let us go to the first app. The first app is the Powerapps app, and I open it. You can get it when you go to apps. You can enter Power. For example, there is the Powerapps app, the Power Automate app, and the Power Virtual Agents app. So this is a problem I had in the preparation yesterday too, that it won't load as I would like. Okay, let's quit this. Let's start Teams again. So in the meantime, while Teams is starting, I can go here. I have opened the Power Platform Admin Center. In the Power Platform Admin Center, the first menu point is the environments. So we can see here this environments. I've created an additional environment here manually by hand. I can click on New. I can give the environment a name. And there I have types I can select. And the types that I have here is sandbox, trial, production, and again, trial, not subscription based. I can't create a Microsoft Teams type environment from this dialog. But I can go, as I showed in the slide before, when I need dev, test, and production environments, I can create here my production environment. I can create, for example, trial or sandbox environments so that I can name them dev and test. And so I can create my environment that I need. So now Teams has started again. We are inside of the Powerapps app. We have a home screen here at this point. We have the recent apps that were used. We have example apps Microsoft is providing. This would be increased. And we had a part for learning about this. When we go to the next, tab here, here is what we see are all the teams that we have under Teams and that we have access to that are Microsoft Dataverse enabled. So these are all my teams that I have that had a Microsoft Dataverse environment in the background. I can see here a small overview of what is inside of my environment. I can click on See All, and then I come to another view where I see all the things that I have, like approvals, like tables, like flows, and so on. And on the left side, I have a little bit of separation of everything of that. When I go here and say I want to create a new app, then I have the choice between phone and tablet, but I'm currently inside of a Microsoft Dataverse environment, so he knows where to create everything. Let's go back. Let's go to home. Here we have also the possibility to create an app, and when we call this from here, then we got asked, please select a team. Here again, I'm seeing all the teams that I have access to. If this team, or the team that I am choosing has already an environment, then everything is good. If it's not there, then the environment would be created. I don't do it because it takes time to create the environment. So for this session, I just only wanted to say inside of this Power App, I can create environments when I say I want to create a Power App, or I go here to this and go inside of one of my Canvas apps. Here it is. While this app is loading, I go to the right side and I show you also Power Apps. Let me refresh this. And let me zoom a little bit for you. So when we go to make.powerapps.com and sign in with our Office 365 user account, I'm also inside of Power Apps, like I'm in the left Power Apps app inside of Teams. I also have here the display of the environment, but when I click on this, I can only change between the non-Teams environments. I can't access from this Power Apps app currently my Power Apps that I've designed for Microsoft Dataverse for Teams. Let's go here, go to the simple app. Let's start this. In the meantime, on the left side, the Power App Designer is started. Oh, I don't want it to start it. I wanted to edit it. Now I have a new Power Apps Studio inside of this Power Apps Teams app. It looks a little bit similar to the studio that I have in the service, but it's from the content a little bit different because we have different UI controls. The left side, the Dataverse for Teams Power Apps are using the new Fluent UI controls. So you can see, for example, this is called label. Here it is called text label. And when I would try the, let us try a second screen. Let us create a new screen, blank screen. Just take the date picker, make this a little bit smaller, go to this, make this a little bit bigger. When we look at this calendar control, then it looks like this. And when I'm on the right side, look at the calendar control, then it looks like this. Just to show you some differences, there are some more differences inside of the different controls that we have. But from the intention, I can build a Power App as a normal Power App on the right side in my make.powerapps.com studio, and I can build a Power App on the left side. The language is the same. When I look at the studio, I have on the left side the elements like the tree view, the elements I want to add, the data sources that I have on the left side too, the screens, the elements I can add, and the data connections. And here, when I click on Add Data, I have the possibility to create a new table. Let me click on this. M365 UK. And this table is now created in the Dataverse for Teams environment. And in Dataverse, I have the possibility with this table designer to add columns, for example, description with advanced options is a little bit like designing tables. As I said, I can add it. And I have different type of columns: text, email, URL, number, date, a choice field I can add. When I add this, then I have, for example, new work. Status. And there is also one thing that is really nice. We have the possibility to have a lookup. So with this lookup type of columns, I can go into my Dataverse for Teams environment and can see, hey, what tables I have herein. And many of these tables are standard tables that are provisioned by Microsoft inside of Dataverse. But there are also the own tables like M365 UK, or I have here a table, I think it was called Community Events, where I can select this. And when I'm done with designing my table, I have also the possibility to enter data here. Date, status, new. I should get a selection. Oh, there are the tests that I have. And yeah, it's the possibility to design tables and the possibility to enter dates also. Keep an eye on this. On the left side from the view selector, there is displayed when the data or the changes that you have done, when they are saved. Sometimes you have to wait a little bit so that the app has the possibility to save those changes. Don't be very fast clicking on close here or on close here. Give it a little bit of time. And now I have created an additional table here, and I can use this. I can use this table inside of my Powerapps for Teams Power App. And what I also can do is I can. Here is my community table that I can use. I can only also go and use tables from other environments I have access to. On my second screen, I have a data source from another environment. So when you go to the data tab, you see we have community events, users, M365 UK from the current environments. And here the stream ideas, this is a table from the TeamsFest environment. So it is possible inside of your Power Apps here to use or to get connections to everything that is inside of your own environment and of other environments. So let's see the app in action. I have the app here. I can go create a new record, new 7. I can go to the other screen. These are records in another environment. And this is also possible. What you can see on this, I have only the half of the screen now placed for my Teams app. When I scale it a little bit, the controls here are rearranged. So what I have, let me go to this screen. I have more here on this. What we get with this Powerapps version and the Fluent UI, we get a responsive design for our Powerapps app. So this is done by Powerapps. And why is this good? It is good because when I go to my mobile phone, I have also the view to Teams here. Then I go to the general channel. Please excuse me, it's in German. I didn't switch the language. I will also open the Power App now in the mobile app, and voila, what we have here is the Power App now in a responsive view. So I have the left side as the main display, and when I click on a record, I come to the right side, where I have the possibility to edit some details, or if I want, click on the pen to write me. This is saved. Let me do a refresh. And here we have also the changes. So that is cool. And that is what it's shown here. When I'm going to publish my Power App, I can publish my Power App inside of Teams, inside to channels inside of my Teams team on tabs. And a new possibility that I saw was you have also the possibility to put your Power App, your Microsoft Dataverse for Teams Power App as a personal app, so that you can arrange it here on the left side. Let us go to the, yes, I know. Let us go to this. When I'm in the mobile client on the right side, I have also the possibility to see my Powerapps app here and to access it as a personal app. The same I have also with standard Power Apps that I have created. This is a standard Power App. It's, let me close this. It's the my Microsoft Theme Power App. Here it is. Also integrated as a tab. Also integrated, I think this one is a personal app, and I have the same here. I have it inside of Teams. And I have it as a personal app, but when I now go here and change the size of the window or the orientation of my phone or something like this, they are not resized, they are not responsive, these Power Apps. So here we had the problem that we have to think about if we have a phone Power App or if we have a Power App, for example, that is bigger, then we get, this is an iPad Power App, Then we get this lookout. Everything is done a little bit smaller, and the Power App is not responsive. It is sized. Okay. Let's go to the next thing. That was Power Apps. Now let me go to the Power Automate app that is inside of Teams. When I'm in the Power Automate app, I can see, and that was a thing that Vesko also showed in his session. I have here different flows that I'm seeing. Let me go to Power Automate in web, so flow.microsoft.com. Let's go to this flows. What I get with the Power Automate Teams app is a view inside of the default environment of my tenant. So let me get a little bit bigger to clarify that. What we have now here in Teams is a view to the default environment. With the Power Automate for Teams Power App that I have here, I don't have the possibility to change my environments. What I see here are Microsoft Teams filtered flows from my default environment. I can go here and say I want to see all flows. Then I see Tommy, get PDF content, and so on. When I go to this in web, then I have the possibility I can change the environments, and I also see the Microsoft Dataverse for Teams environments. Let me go to the M365 UK environment. And I have created some flows. And yes, I have created this flows with the web browser, inside of the web browser. When I go to this, I can also create flows, but as I said, only for the default environment. So how can I create flows for Dataverse for Teams? There I have to go back to the Powerapps, Teams app, go to Build, choose my Dataverse for Teams environment, and here I can go to Flows and can click on New, create a new flow, and we have the possibility to create automated instant flows or scheduled flows. And as you can see it here, there is also a difference in the viewing or in that what is displayed. What I have currently in the web browser on the right side are the flows that I have created here, and the flows that I'm creating in Microsoft in the Powerapps Microsoft Teams app. These things I see only here. I've created a flow. This flow is currently running. Let's go inside of this flow. What's in there? It's a simple flow. I use a trigger from the common Dataverse part. And there I want to react on create, update, or delete. I can choose between create or delete, create or update, and so on. Here I have a create trigger. When inside of community events a new entry is inserted, then please start this flow. I can do the same thing on this side. I have the same trigger. Both triggers are fired. I would show it in a few moments. What I'm doing on the left side, I'm going create an update. I have a column named from flow. I'm entering the UTC now timestamp, and the next what I'm doing is I'm starting an approval process, and I wait for the approval. And this approval process should be visible. I will show where. On the left side, I'm only sending a mobile notification and an email just to have a difference between the one and the other flow. When I'm in the right side in my environment of Microsoft 365 UK, I can go to Action Items, to Approvals, and voila, we have entered new 7, and I can see the approval request here. And I can see it only here. Let me go back to the Power Automate app, where I also have the possibility to see approvals. But I don't see approvals here because the approval was started and initiated from inside the Dataverse for Teams environment of the M365 UK environment. And I have to switch to the environment to see the approvals that I have. I can't do it with the Powerapps for Teams app, with the Power Automate for Teams app. I can do it with the Power Automate app in the web browser. When I want to see the approvals here, let me go here to flows. I don't see the approvals menu like I have it here. I can go to this one. I can see the execution. We have a running approval process. So here we have a difference. Let me go to the mobile app on the left side again. I can open the Power Automate app. And when I open the Power Automate app, I have also the possibility to see the approvals on the first tab, activity. It's also in German, please excuse. But it's not displayed here. So what I have to do on my mobile app to see the approvals, there I have to go to account at the top right of the bottom. And then I have the possibility, so almost in the middle, to change the environment I'm looking for. And in the mobile Power Automate app, I can change the environment. Then it goes a little bit. Now I see the approvals. I see in the feed what is done, and I have the approval here. When I want to see other things, like I had it in this flow on the right side. For example, send a mobile notification. So the mobile notification is also displayed here in my Powerapps app, or you send an email. When you send an email, let's know here. Then you become an email, and this email isn't depend on your environment. So you get the email for this user. Oh, this was wrong. For a user, and inside of mails, you have the possibility now also to say everything is good. I would like to approve this. Yes. Submit. Okay, this works again. I've killed the NDI process. Also in the mobile app, the approval is gone. And when we go to this flow is run successfully. So everything is okay. When we go back to our Power App, not this one. Let's go to this one. Let me take this. Go to new 7. In the field from flow, we get approved. So again, you can create Power Automate flows for Dataverse for Teams inside of the Powerapps app. You can create approvals. When you have created an environment and you have waited for some hours till this environment is created, you have to wait some additional time if you use the first approval process to get everything done in the background. So don't worry, it would be done. You can see the approvals in emails as I show it here. You can see approvals also in the flow area when you change the environment or in the mobile app. That is good to know. Let me go to the next one. Just for the complete, to be complete, when we open the Power Virtual Agents Microsoft Teams app, then we can also create chatbots. When we go to chatbots, I can see my Dataverse for Teams environments or enabled Microsoft Teams here. And I can create a new chatbot, and the same that I got for creating new Power Apps, I get here also the dialog for selecting the team I want to create the chatbot for, and if the team has a Dataverse for Teams environment, the environment is used. If not, the environment is created, just to have it complete. Okay, let me look to the time. Let me go back to the slides. What I have showed you to get a little bit of summary is when we are looking at the current state of Power Platform in Microsoft Teams with Dataverse, and we are comparing the we are comparing the web services with the team services. There are some differences you have to know. I can't create a Dataverse for Teams environment inside of the make.powerapps.com of the web service. I can do it in Teams, and so on and so on. This is not only difficult for us as consultants or for you also as consultants, it's also a challenge to say this to the customers and to say them, hey, if you want to create an flow inside your Power Apps for Teams or inside your Power Apps inside of Microsoft Dataverse for Teams, you have to use the Teams Power Apps app, choose your environment, go to flows, and there you can create a flow. It's a challenge. This is the start of a comparison result. Microsoft is working on topics to bring this together to have the same experience in all worlds, but the current situation is that what we have here. Also, when we are looking at the possibilities that we have on the Teams Power Apps side, we have the responsive Fluent UI. We can create cloud flows for Dataverse. We can manage table permissions and share with colleagues. Oh, that are new functionalities. Let me show that. That's something that is really new and really cool. Let's go to the tables, and let me choose this table. And when I choose this table in Project Oakdale, in the beginning, guests could only edit their own datas and not datas of others. And now, when we select the table here, we have a new menu, Manage Permissions. And inside of this, we can't change the permissions of the owner group, but we can't change the permissions that we are assigning to members or to guests or to colleagues with access to our environment. As I showed in the Power Apps demo, where I was accessing data from an other Dataverse for Teams environment, here I can say I can't access or I can give full access. For guests, also the same. I can change from guests can create their new records or only create their new records, delete their own records, update and delete their own records. I can say, hey, they can collaborate. They can have full access. This is a great feature. And another great feature is the share with colleagues feature. So when I click here, I can say I want to share this environment and the content of this environment with colleagues, and I can enter a security group or the Teams team. We have a security group in the background. And then I can say what I want to share. This is the app. Yes, I want to share it with colleagues from another team. And here I have the possibility to say, hey, I have a different team. I have a development team that supports every team's developing their applications. I can share from my team's team, as a team's owner perspective, this with this development team, and they can help and me to develop every application that I have. Another thing that I want to give you on hand is common data service with the extension current environment are standard connectors. Common data service normal without this current environment are always premium connectors. So when you are building a Flow or a Power Automate app and you want to get data from the common data service, if you can use current environment, everything is good. I use this for the trigger and the actions inside of my Flow. And this is standard and included in your license. You can now share database for teams beyond your team. I showed that, it's in my slide. Another great thing just to have in mind, the monitor of Powerapps is now generally available. Take a look at the monitor. This helps you to develop Powerapps and to see what's going on, maybe to find some bugs and so on, and you can do it on your own when you're user A, or you can share the session and invite someone else to look at your monitor session when you're using the app, or you can connect the user that is using his app into a monitoring session, and you can look at this, just for short. Okay. Some events also from my perspective, Teams Community Day and the 28th of January, the call for speakers is open till tomorrow. If you want to submit a session, everything around Teams and Power Platform as you want, please do it. I want to say also the Global Power Platform Bootcamp is between the 19th and the 20th on one day or on both days. Go to the powerplatformbootcamp.com site and find a bootcamp in your nearby you where you can join, or join a bootcamp you would like to. We in Germany from Hanover are also having a bootcamp, and that's it. That's the session from my perspective. Thank you for your attention. Let me see if I have some questions in the comments.
Thanks, Tomislav. Nothing at the moment. We'll probably give a couple of minutes or so. But yeah, I mean, you kind of really smashed it, Tomislav. Lots of demos there and the scenarios side by side screen. So yeah, cool stuff. Thanks for being here at M365 UK.
Thank you very much. Feel free, if anyone has questions, contact me.
I think while we wait for the questions, I think in the chat window, in the Q&A, sorry, you'll see that I've posted a few links in terms of the slides and videos will be available by this Friday. And yes, of course, in the meantime, as Tomislav mentions, that you can feel free to contact him directly or through Twitter or through other means. But I think it's just great. I think just similar to Vesko's session earlier on, that these things are constantly evolving, and even things like what you mentioned just now, the monitor for Powerapps and became generally available. So yeah, it's good to know. And I think one thing I did like about your demo, Tomislav, there is that mobile screen setup and everything else. And I think the whole setup you've got there to be able to bring all those things together to demo, I think it was brilliant. So well done for that. And I think hopefully our attendees kind of saw that in its entirety. And of course, I think we'll await for further updates as they come about in this year for Dataverse. But no, it's good to see that. I think the analogy I always use is a bit like a Access database, really, Teams database, so to speak. So it becomes very easier to use for a lot of our Teams users. But good. I think we'll probably just leave it at that. I think I'm just looking through the Q&A one more time, and I think we don't have any questions. So it looks like, I think we'll probably get more of this coming later anyways. But I think I just want to say, everyone, thanks to all the attendees for being here today for M365 UK, all Vesku and Tomislav once again for giving up your time and being with us today as well. So with that, I'll just wrap up and say, thanks everyone, but also don't forget to give feedback, and many of you have given feedback already for Vesco. I had a quick look, and it was a great session. This one is equally a good session as well. So please do post that the feedback for Tomislav, so at least it'll help him to also make necessary improvements wherever you think you may want to see more of that demo altogether. I think if you haven't already, then there's the links there as well for 17th of Feb. So we've got Gosia Bocheka and Kevin McDonald for 2 brilliant sessions there as well. And so looking forward to those, and hopefully you can join us then as well. So in the meantime, stay safe and enjoy. Thanks.